In a world with artificial intelligence, how do we transform education? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Daniel Lopez, and this is the AI Education Conversation, where we explore the opportunities, risks, and impacts of AI across education. If you'd like to join the conversation, check out the AIeducationconversation.com. Let's jump in. Hey everyone, I'm back with another AI Essentials episode. I've had a few folks ask me versions of this question. That is, how to create enabling conditions for your organization in a world of artificial intelligence. Now, being that many schools and districts and organizations are in the process of deciding how to kick off their exploration and adoption of artificial intelligence journeys, I decided I would take some time here to outline the 3 steps that I would take to ensure that my organization is set up for success with any innovative solutions that we may want to try out later. Let's jump in. So, my first step, this one is likely a no-brainer based on the many conversations we've had thus far. I mean, and to a certain extent, it's in the name, which is it's conversation. AI literacy is my first step. Let's talk about the data first. So what do we know? First, we know that in the United States, that still many states, around half, don't have any AI guidance. And there's also many school districts, both that I've seen personally as well as in the data, that are still not talking about the impacts of artificial intelligence. For some added context, there was a new report done by the American School District Panel, ASDP, a research partnership between the RAND Corporation and my friends at CERPI, the Center for Reinventing Public Education. Specifically, you all will recall I had a great conversation with Bree Dussault just in January as we kicked off the year. Now, they presented some very interesting numbers in a recent report that they dropped as well. As an example, they found that 66% of teachers, as of this survey, and this was a survey of over 1,000 people, had never heard of AI and or never used AI before. 66%. Additionally, in that same report, they found that both non-AI users and AI users saw concerns for the role of AI in society as a whole as the top barrier for any potential future AI usage. Now, from my perspective, AI literacy is not just about exploring the technical elements of AI, right? We're not just going to have conversations about what AI is, what's a large language model, what does training mean, what's prompt engineering. And we're also not just going to talk about how do you use these things, what are the best use cases, how can I use all the nifty bells and whistles that exist in AI today and bring those to my school. From my perspective, it is AI literacy is deeper than that. It is about safeguarding against the impacts of artificial intelligence, whether your organization choose to organizationally jump in or not. My AI literacy plan would also include other elements within the scope and sequence here. Things such as foundations of computational thinking, things such as some technical learning of how AI works. I also think that's important. But what it's also going to include is a lot of conversations around things such as AI deepfakes. What are AI deepfakes? What forms do they come in? How can these be exploited by bad actors to hurt us, our kids, our school communities? How do the combination of AI deepfakes with social media create a terrifying 1-2 punch that we should be thinking about and actively interrogating with awareness and intentionality, especially as the first ever artificially intelligence enabled US presidential election is about to happen? It would also include things such as the impact of relationships with AI chatbots. There's a lot of companies out there exploring with AI chatbots. And I think it's very important that we start to explore what boundaries are acceptable, what types of relationships feel acceptable with this new technology, given there's a lot of people really interested in engaging with AI chatbots, such as types of chatbots that appear to be mental health support chatbots, celebrity chatbots, chatbots that are trained to act like historical figures. So we need to start having conversations about those types of things. Those are going to happen within our schools, regardless of if we accept that and endorse that or not. I think that there's also really great opportunities to explore artificial intelligence with project based learning. I think Phil Alcock, as an example, shared some really great ideas as to how you can have conversations with AI. In some cases, use AI if you feel ambitious enough in the start of your journey to be able to think through what that can look like. But starting to bring more project based learning to your school, starting to get our young people to think about the durable skills that they can be sharpening, strengthening as they prepare to navigate a world that they will graduate into, which is going to include artificial intelligence. Now, again, the beauty of this first step is there's a lot of resources that I already have provided out there, which can set you up to take some of these initial steps. Vera Cubero, who's done a lot of this great work in North Carolina to set them up with AI guidance and continues to do training, she made her link available. And I will include those links in the show notes for some of the AI guidance and many other resources that they've been deploying across schools across North Carolina. Diane Lauer, Chief Academic Officer, she shared her playbook for what AI literacy type conversations have been looking like in their school district, right? Phil Alcock, as I mentioned earlier, his project-based learning approach has been great. Michelle Culver, the episode we recently just had, she already has some great perspectives on what boundaries and frameworks for relationships and artificial intelligence can look like. There's also other great organizations out there, AI for Education, the AI Education Project. I will also throw myself in there if you're interested in having a personalized consultant approach. Obviously, I'm available and I can support you as well to think through some of your AI literacy needs. And I would just end with again, from my perspective, the conversation around AI literacy doesn't just include your staff. You want to make sure that parents, students, other stakeholders in your school communities have or in your organizations have the opportunity to digest and contextualize artificial intelligence as well. My second step. Now, if I'm responsible for overseeing an entire community of people in a physical location, I'm partnering with Zero Eyes. Now, what's Zero Eyes? Now, for those of you who heard episode 16 of my podcast, you will recall that Zero Eyes is actually an AI powered gun detection solution that layers onto existing security cameras. It detects brandished firearms and it dispatches human verified alerts within 3 to 5 seconds. Now, what also really stood out to me in my conversation with Zero Eyes is that their detection model is trained on over 1 million images of firearms, and it is not trained for any type of facial recognition, visual detection on humans, which really stood out to me in the conversation that I had with the founders. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not in a partnership or any type of financial relationship with Zero Eyes. I just really believe in their product, and I believe that this for me feels like a really critical AI use case that I want in my school or my organization in my building because I want all of my staff and students protected. And I think the stark reality of 2024 here, especially in the United States, is that the American Academy of Pediatrics reported this as an example that there were over 1,453 school shootings between 1997 and 2022. But the scariest part is that the majority of those occurrences, 55%, 794 school shootings, happened in the last 5 years of that window. We need our school communities. We need our organizations to feel safe and protected for learning to happen, for work to happen. And I'm left believing that AI can help in a big way, absent any type of significant legislation. And from a data security and financial perspective, this feels like a very low lift lever to safeguard my building using AI capabilities. Now, my final takeaway continues in this theme of protection. In this case, it's actually about protection in the digital realm. Now, before I consider bringing any type of robust artificial intelligence into my organization, my school district, especially in any type of scalable way, I would be partnering with a cybersecurity company or ensuring that my in house security team is top notch. Even before the emergence of ChatGPT, the K 12 Security Information Exchange found that there were over 619 cyber related incidences in school districts across the United States. These include things like phishing, ransomware, denial of service attacks, and data breaches. Earlier this year, the Consortium for School Networking also found that almost two-thirds, 63% of district tech leaders are very or extremely concerned that the emerging technology will enable new forms of cyber attacks, according to the report. If you're a principal or superintendent, listen to this. That is your people. That is your CTOs, your directors of ITs directly saying that they are worried about this. And as experts on cyber attacks in the building, we should take their perspective and expertise to heart. Now, what I'm also really excited to share about this is that in my episode on Thursday, I'm really eager to get into the weeds and right sizing this cyber threat because of generative AI on digital securities in schools and our organizations. And I'm going to do that actually with Jay Hostetler, who is the founder of Simsys, a cybersecurity firm focused on affordable cybersecurity solutions. Now, my headline takeaway from that conversation with Jay, just as an early preview, is that generative AI can actually superpower cyber threats. And the reason it can do so is because that it attacks organization from multiple points. And the fact that it has AI, especially agent capabilities, it means that it's highly adaptable and it doesn't sleep. Jay and I also talked about how AI deepfakes, like voice cloning, it makes social engineering for phishing schemes much scarier, which expose internal staff as well. Now, disclaimer, I do want to announce that I have entered a partnership with SimAssist, and I'm really excited about that partnership. The reason that I decided to do so is because my conclusion with this AI powered world that we now live in is that schools, organizations need to drastically increase their cybersecurity because there is objectively an increase in cyber threats happening on school districts. And oftentimes, school districts are protected by overworked and under resourced teams, or in many cases, it's just one person. Now, as a part of my partnership with SimAssist, I'm also really excited to announce that any listeners of the AI Education Conversation podcast do receive a free vulnerability scan. So that means you can gather peace of mind that your current controls are working if they are. And again, this is no strings attached. So this is just free for listening and being a part of our conversation here. So that's it. Those are my first 3 steps. That's what I would do to set up my organization for success and create the enabling conditions to ensure that any aggressive adoption or exploration that happens on a deeper way later in our journey, that we're set up for success in some of those foundational stages. Feel free to comment below if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify. Feel free to also send me a message on LinkedIn if you think that I'm missing anything or you would add different steps to your list. If you want to continue supporting the podcast, a rating, a review, share on social media, or recommendation to a colleague go a long way in helping to amplify our space so that I can host bigger conversations. Finally, if your school district organization is ready to explore AI and make a change, I am available for workshops and consulting at the AIeducationconversation.com. Humans at the heart of education. I'll see you all Thursday.